Good evening, viewers, and welcome to Agri Business Now, the program which informs, educates, and highlights matters related to the agricultural sector. I am Nakita Samuel. Coming up on the program, we have the coming home ceremony for the St. Vincent and the Grenadines parrots, highlights from the Hasip workshop held here last week. Then we have the How to Do segment along with the news and announcements. Stay tuned, the details to follow after the short break.
Water. It is 75% of the Earth's surface, yet it is scarce in some places. It's 70% of our body's mass, yet many do not drink that 8 glasses per day. The forest plays an important part in the water cycle by protecting our watersheds. Water is life. Protect the forest. Preserve life.
Welcome back, everyone. If you're just joining us, you're watching Agri Business Now. The St. Vincent parrot is significant to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and is also considered to be a flagship species of the country. This parrot species consists of 850 to 900 birds in the wild and remains threatened by natural and anthropogenic factors and are also considered to be endangered. The government has partnered with the Association for the Conservation of Threatened Parrots, better known as HACCP, to rectify this problem by creating an active breeding program on behalf of the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. On Monday, 4th November 2019, 3 of these 2-year-old parrots that were used in the XC2 breeding program were returned to the country.
Endemic to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Amazona gildingi, also known as the Vinci parrot, has faced many obstacles threatening its existence over the years. Some of these include volcanic eruption, hurricanes, illegal trade, and the destruction of its natural habitat. On Monday, 4th November 2019, 3 birds returned to St. Vincent and the Grenadines under a program taken on by the government of St. Vincent and the Association for the Conservation of Threatened Parrots, HACCP. The registered non-profit German organization is dedicated to the protection and conservation of endangered parrots and their habitats. At the ceremony, which took place at Argyle International Airport, the birds were received by officials of the Ministry of Agriculture and other personnel. The gathering heard remarks from the Minister of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Rural Transformation, Industry and Labour, Honorable Suboto Caesar.
It is indeed a pleasure and an honor to stand here this evening to welcome home 3 of our very own, the Amazona gildingi. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as a small island developing state, we stand as leaders in the vanguard for conservation, not only in the OECS, in CARICOM, but in the entire world. A few years ago, we ensured that every turtle in our jurisdiction was protected. Our recent accomplishments with the Union Island gecko has placed us on the map for conservation. And today, I want us to join hands and hearts to celebrate with the Forestry Department, the hard-working staff there, friendly organizations in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and special mention must be made of the hard work and dedication of the Association for the Conservation of Threatened Parrots. Because of that work, the youngsters who are here with us, we don't have to worry that when they are 60 years and 70 years, that our birds will be in extinction. They are going to be around. And we as custodians, we have a national duty to continue to play. And I look forward to many more years of good relations with the HACCP HACCP as we work to build this blessed country of ours.
Principal Director of HACCP, Mr. Martin Goth, also gave some remarks.
With a long journey, the birds are now 28 hours on the way here to St. Vincent. Actually, we believe the bird could fly from Germany. That would be quicker. For us, it's a very exciting day. We are very proud. We started in 2006 to approach the government of St. Vincent. In 2011, only 5 years later, Minister Caesar agreed. And now, 8 years later, we have the success here. I think especially in times of climate change and the hurricanes we have seen in the past, I think we made the right decision to save this species or the environment for our, for the youth, for the youngsters. So I would like to thank you, everyone who was involved, for the hard work.
The Forestry Services is responsible for the program. Head of the Forestry Services, Fitzgerald Providence, also spoke at the ceremony.
For this work that has taken a long time to come to fruition in these birds being here this evening, our conservation efforts started when that bird became the national bird of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Vincent, our parrot, our national bird. And we have always tried to maintain its habitat, the forest, which provides a lot of benefits to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So when we protect this bird, we protect our livelihoods, our lives, and our development in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because the water you drink comes from the forest that this bird flies in. So without the bird, without the forest, we don't have a future in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I just want to, again, appreciate the work that we've been doing with the Association for the Conservation of Threatened Parrots in terms of the maintenance of these birds. We don't want it ever to have a catastrophic event where we have to only have birds bred in captivity to replace the birds in the forest. We want to protect our forests. So the young people here, the children here, we want you to start a protection for your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren, not my great-grandchildren, but yours. So we want our bird to remain in the wild for the future. We want to protect it, and we want to continue the conservation work with partners like the HACCP and others who want to help us to sustain this population. And we continue to do our work in conservation in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because one species protected means all protected, and our forest is protected.
The Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points, better known as HACCP, is a preventative food safety system in which every step in the manufacture, storage, and distribution of food product is scientifically analyzed for physical and chemical hazards. On Wednesday, 30th November 2019, a two-day workshop was held at the Grenadines House Conference Room to assist the country in product control. Wilbur J of the Communications Unit has the details.
With a mandate to support the efforts of its member countries to develop their agricultural and rural communities, the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, IICA, hosted a two-day workshop on Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points, HACCP, on Wednesday 30th and Thursday 31st October 2019. The workshop was facilitated by Dominica's IICA Technical Specialist Ken Copiel and Deputy Director of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Bureau of Standards, Hayden Charles. Upon completion of the workshop, a team from the Communications Unit in the Ministry of Agriculture spoke to the facilitators and St. Vincent and the Grenadines' IICA Technical Specialist, Michael Dalton, to find out what was the aim of the workshop.
This week I was invited to St. Vincent to be part of a training workshop that targeting people from the Ministry of Agriculture, the Bureau of Standards, as well as other entities involved in food. And the training this week focused on the whole issue of introducing participants, and also a refresher for persons involved in the area of HACCP. HACCP being the Hazard Analysis of the Critical Control Point, which is a food safety system that looking very closely towards food safety. So I supported the program by delivering some of the sessions this week, as well as there are other persons who were involved, and I also participated in the discussion, the two-day discussion that we're having on HACCP. St. Vincent is moving towards the setting up of a food certification system. Now, it will require engaging much more persons in the discussion. It would require much more training, and not only for technicians but also for people involved in the food industry. It's something that's not going to happen overnight. It's something that will require all the parties to be involved. And I believe that just seeing the enthusiasm I've seen over the last 2 days, I recognize that the persons participating over the 2 days will be playing a big role in ensuring that the information reaches the critical people who are the people involved in the food production and food trade. So therefore, moving forward, I would expect that people recognize the importance of HACCP, not only to deal with the export of food, but for your own domestic concerns in terms of food safety. So therefore, I think it's an important tool that will help ensure that food produced and distributed in St. Vincent is safe for consumption by all.
Currently, ICA is supporting St. Vincent and the Grenadines under the Agricultural Health and Food Safety Program to develop its food certification system. In June of this year, St. Vincent and the Grenadines launched an effort to develop a food certification system for fresh agricultural produce, meat and meat products, fish and fish products, among other things. ICA was asked at the outset to support this effort, which was being led by the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Bureau of Standards and the Ministry of Agriculture. In supporting the efforts, ICA has developed 2 projects. One of these projects is a multi-country project, which includes St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia and Dominica, and the other is a project which is solely at the national level. Both are with the same intention, to help with the development of the food certification system. So far, we have held 2 training activities. We have focused our effort on the development of good agricultural practices, and in this effort we have had our first workshop in August and expected again to continue in November. We have also today concluded our workshop on hazard analysis critical control points, the HACCP system, training technicians from the public sector agencies and also the private sector partners with whom we are engaged. We look forward to working with these institutions and the other public sector institutions that we know will be a part of the process for the development of this system in the coming years.
And this Bureau of Standards, along with the Ministry of Agriculture, are spearheading the certification unit. The certification unit was launched in June, and our mandate is to support all the competent authorities to carry out certification. So at our end, we are going to be doing a lot of managing, a lot of implementation in terms of management systems, and help in guiding the process forward. We're also going to be participating in a lot of sensitization and training. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Bureau of Standards also pushed through the proposal for the certification unit. Within that mandate, we will help to guide the process of transparency and traceability. So today we concluded a workshop on HACCP, the Hazard Analysis Critical Control Points. I was a facilitator and helped to further explain the principles. Now, this workshop was a foundation workshop because it is our vision going forward that we branch off into 2 streams where we have trainers of HACCP and also auditors. So this is our foundation workshop where we try to feel out who is able to do what and give them a general appreciation for HACCP, and then we go into more intense training going forward. In terms of the participation today, I'm quite happy. For the past 2 days, there has been a lot of feedback, a lot of participation, a lot of excitement by the participants, and we feel that we have a strong team going forward. It's very heartening to see this much buy-in into something across different streams, different organizations.
They also spoke to a few participants to find out what they had gathered.
It's a refresher program for we, as our company already has a plan, but what I gather from it, it's like a guideline train where we can pass on to our farmers as our farmer customers and how they produce their product. So when they get to Vincent Fresh, they will already have a proper guideline of what produce should be in the sense of quality. So less spoilage and damage on both parts, Vincent Fresh and the farmer's part.
So I've just completed today training on HACCP, HACCP, hazard assessment, and critical control point. It is very important and very interesting. It basically deals with food safety. And as we see in the Caribbean, especially in St. Vincent, we start seeing an increase in tourist arrivals. You know, we have, right now I am looking at a cruise ship, and we know the importance in cruise tourism. We also know the importance with our own local health. And so what HACCP does is it focuses on food safety. But even before you implement a HACCP program, you have prerequisites. And so we have things like Vincent Gap, Global Gap. And those are things that for many years we've been implementing. You know, we've been working with farmers in terms of training. And so we see these things as prerequisites. Right now, to implement something like HACCP, you need to have, you know, legal framework and so forth. So even before we get there, we have to deal with these prerequisites. And for example, where I am concerned from the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Health and Production Division, we have been doing for the last 3 to 4 years salmonella survey screening in poultry eggs, in farmers, commercial farmers. And this is a way of sensitizing farmers as to the importance of not just being producers of eggs, but actually being producers of quality eggs, of eggs that are healthy for human consumption. And so with this coming on stream, HACCP eventually will be implemented, and it's not in terms of just this one big program, but it is specific. So for each producer, for example, say you're involved in seasoning production. If you want to export to the United States, you have to have a HACCP plan. And as such, this initiative that is being taken right now, spearheaded by AICA and enforced or promoted by the SVG Bureau of Standards. This gives farmers, this gives the business people, this gives producers the opportunity where they can become compliant so that whatever product they are actually putting on the market is safe for human consumption.
The How to Do segment is up next after this short break.
Did you know that the OECS Agriculture Competitiveness Project, otherwise known as Agricole Project, has been officially launched?
Well, it was, and the project aims at enhancing access to markets and sales for competitively selected farmers and fisher folks.
But to access funds, you must be part of a productive alliance.
So what is a productive alliance, you ask? It's a business arrangement between farmers and or fisher folks on one hand, and on the other hand, aggregators. Aggregators can be cooperatives, lead farmers, or marketers and agro-processors.
The project provides matching grants to a productive alliance. A minimum of 10 farmers or fishers and an aggregator, such as a lead farmer, a cooperative, marketer, or an agro-processor.
Farmers and fisher folk in Productive Alliance can receive up to $8,000, while the aggregator, lead farmer or fisher, cooperative, marketer, or agro-processor can receive up to $120,000. For more information, please contact Ministry of Agriculture, Richmond Hill at 456-1410 or 456-1111, extension 311 or 321, or email agricomsvg@mail.gov.vc.
Welcome back, this is Agri Business Now. Now for this week's How to Do, you're going to learn how to debeak birds. It's quite easy to do.
Debeaking or beak trimming is a partial removal of the tip of the beak of the animal. It is a preventative measure to reduce damage caused by pecking. There are various ways to debeak, but the simplest and cheapest method is by using flat metal files. Begin by heating the files and ensure that you have protective gear for your hands and body. Tuck the animal in a comfortable position under one arm. With that same arm, use your index finger to open the beak and tuck the tongue safely away. Now with the other hand, use a mitten or thick piece of layered cloth and pick up the heated file. Burn the top half of the beak first, then repeat the process with the bottom. Remember to tuck the tongue safely out of the way. About 1/4 to a half of the beak should be burned. Try not to leave the heated file on the beak for too long, as excessive exposure to heat might harm the animal.
Here now are the news and announcements.
The Ministry of Agriculture, through the Department of Labour, is inviting persons to apply for the following available position on the Guyana Work Programme: electrical engineer, project management, electrician, plumbers, welders, and food and beverage. Please note, only persons with certification including CVQ and TVET certification will be eligible for the positions. Please call 4562-349 for an appointment. Persons without appointments will not be accommodated. Please bring along 2 passport-size pictures, national ID, passport or driver's license, NIS card, names, address, telephone number, email address, and occupation of 2 references, and a prepared resume is welcome.
Here is where we come to the end of the program. I hope that the information we shared with you was beneficial in some way. Please feel free to contact us at the Communications Unit within the Ministry of Agriculture at 456-1111. Extension 312 or 472, or email us at citumaf2@hotmail.com. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Agri Business Now St. Vincent, and click on the bell to get notifications on new videos, or like our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/agribusinessnow. Until next time, I am Nakita Samuel.